You booked it, episode 187. What's going on, everyone? Thank you for joining me today on You Booked It, the #1 podcast where you learn how to create a successful entertainment career. Over the past few months, I have been working in the background putting together a little something that is pretty cool, and it is finally ready to share with you. I am excited to announce the You Booked It community. It is your go-to career resource and the only platform worldwide that covers the entire entertainment industry. From unlimited masterclasses to building industry relationships to chatting with Tony winners, Emmy nominees, and past podcast guests, the community has everything you need to navigate a successful entertainment career. Check it out for yourself. Head over to youbookeditpodcast.com/community or tap the link in the description of this episode, and we'll see you inside. And now, let's meet today's guest. Okay, let's get started. I am excited to introduce my guest today, Chloe Arnold. Are you ready for this, Chloe?
I'm so ready. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Chloe is an Emmy-nominated choreographer and founder of Syncopated Ladies. Chloe was discovered at the young age of 16 in Washington, D.C. by Debbie Allen, and her choreography has been featured on hit television shows such as So You Think You Can Dance, Good Morning America, The Ellen Show, The Talk, and over 30 episodes of The Late Late Show with James Corden. With Chloe paving the way and carving out Syncopated Ladies' own place in the industry, they have garnished over 50 million views online, receiving praise from Beyonce, Whoopi Goldberg on The View, as well as many other celebrities and news outlets around the world. Chloe, that is a quick intro of who you are and what you've done, but why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself, fill in the gaps, and a little bit more about what you do as a professional in the entertainment industry?
I have a love and passion for dance that I've had since I was a kid, and this is what I knew I wanted to do. I started off with tap dancing, and I really got inspired because at the age of 10, I had seen the movie Tap, starring Gregory Hines, and
Mm.
shortly thereafter, he came to Washington, D.C. and did Masterclasses and a performance. And for me, that was like sealed the deal. I was like, oh my goodness. It went from something I was seeing on the silver screen to right in front of me. And I was like, I want to be a tap dancer. And
Yeah.
so I really started to pursue learning as much as I could and training as hard as I could. And it was really Debbie Allen that came also to DC to do a play that I got to be a part of. And through that experience with her, I realized I needed to expand the language of my dancing skills so that while tap dance was still my first language, that I was going to learn more languages and be able to express myself freely. And so that's what I did. And it's been absolutely incredible because having these other styles of dances under my belt has allowed me to, one, make Syncopated Ladies really unique in how we approach tap dance, because all of the women have trained in multiple styles of dance. So when we're, dancing to Prince, we're able to put that flair, or if we're dancing to Beyonce, we
Mm.
have that flair. So it really lends to the uniqueness of how we present tap dance. And then in terms of television, it allows me to choreograph musical theater and hip hop and jazz. And so it's given me an incredible career in television, and I'm actually moving towards choreographing a movie very soon.
Oh, very cool. I really enjoy that little recap of the career and life. I love how you said learning languages. That's such a good way to put it and a good image. And I think you're so right that
Thank you.
in our careers and what we do, I think it's so important to have as many languages as you say under your belt, because you never really know the direction of your career or how you can, like you have done with Syncopated Ladies, which, by the way, everyone, if you haven't checked out Syncopated Ladies on YouTube, make sure you check it out. It's pretty amazing. And
Thank you.
yeah, of course, it's fantastic. I've watched so many of your videos at this point. And
I appreciate it.
yeah, it really shows that, look, I can take all of these different elements of what I know and combine it into something that's never been done before. So I think having
Hmm.
more skill sets, more tools in your tool belt is always
Hmm.
beneficial for everyone in their career.
Absolutely. I love even when you say tool belt that I'm into home improvement. And it just made me think about that idea of buying a toolkit and then only using one tool in the toolkit. And it doesn't mean that you're like better than everybody else because you only use that one tool. It just means you
Right.
haven't explored like, oh, well, what does this tool do? And how can I utilize this? And how do they complement each other? And I
Yeah.
think that that's the fun part about learning.
Yeah. Absolutely. And let's move on to this first section here. And Chloe, look, I am a sucker for a good quote. What is your favorite quote you'd like to share with everyone?
My favorite saying is teamwork makes the dream work. I have found that in the number one current through everything I've done that has made things that seemed impossible possible is that I've had an incredible team
Mm,
of believers, people that truly believe that what we are imagining can take life. And that has happened in every realm from the most unfunded grassroots to the most funded shows with Will Smith and James Corden. The number one constant is that all of these things have a beautiful team.
yeah. Teamwork is everything in this arts world, right? Yes,
Mm-hmm.
there's times when we have to do our work solo, and there's parts of it that we need
Yes.
to figure out on our own. But ultimately, if you're going to
Mm-hmm.
produce anything, if you're going to do anything like that, you need people. Even if you're a
Yes.
solo act, you need
Yes.
people to be
Yes.
part of that experience so it can be appreciated and enjoyed and you can share what it is that you're doing. It's such a inclusive art form. And I think, or I guess art in general really is so
Yes.
inclusive of everything and everyone, whether that means you're directly collaborating or if you're someone who's consuming the content, and that is also its own
Yes.
kind of strange collaboration, right?
Oh, it's 100%. I was thinking about that. There's so many, well, it's actually, this is just really funny and basic, but I just posted something on Instagram and I wrote, caption this. That in and of itself is a collaboration because
Mm,
somebody's going to say something that makes me see what I have shared with them in another way. And I
yeah.
think that's incredible because just when you thought that you were presenting this, because this is how you saw it, and you saw your art, someone else sees your art in another way. And I think it's really fun and powerful because it helps you grow. So someone can say something and then that make me go, oh my God, okay, I got to try that. Even my last solo video came out of my hairdresser sending me an idea. And then I was like waiting for the right time. I was like, I'm not sure how to make it work. And then another friend of mine sent me a different idea. And I thought, oh my goodness, these ideas complement one another. And then bam, I had a new idea to do a quote unquote solo video. But the reality is, it took a team to come up
Yeah.
with the idea, to shoot the idea, and also to market it and to get it out to the world.
Yeah, that's so cool. And I think sometimes when we're talking about all of this teamwork and working together and collaboration, and what it really, I think the overarching theme, and what I've really discovered through speaking with so many fantastic people like yourself on this podcast, is that
Thank
it's
you.
really becoming very clear that the number one element, the number one fundamental almost of what really makes this career work is relationships. And that's
Mm-hmm.
everything. And from
Yes.
I mean, I've spoken on relationships a handful of times, but I think I've just really put it all together there and with this collaboration idea. And for whatever reason, all the dots really got connected just in
Yes.
this last second. But relationships are everything in this industry.
Yes. It is incredible. I cannot stress this enough to any aspiring dancer. It's beyond your steps. It's the heart of what you put into what you're doing. And then that shared feeling that makes other people feel so good that they think, I must have them back in this space. It is that which gets you the next job, gets you the first job, gets you the jobs for the rest of your life. Because at the end of the day, there's always going to be someone that is technically more talented, let's say. Maybe it's their technique is better. Maybe they just got that light. But they can have all of that. And if they don't have the quality of character that makes people want to be around them, it won't last. It'll last for a little bit because there's like, oh, wow, wow. And then ultimately, when you don't nurture those relationships, it all crumbles. And I've just seen it so much. And I've seen so many underdogs become so successful because they show up with the right attitude that makes
Mm.
them go to higher, because it's wow, when they're here, their impact is felt. And I think it's just really important to remember that you're just so much more than your steps. So you're a human, and the way that you interact as a human is what is going to determine how long you stay around and the doors and opportunities that open for you. Because the reality is, it's not just like when you're in that room doing whatever job it may be, what's happening is there are branches to the tree, and there are a multitude of other opportunities that can come from that one thing that you couldn't even fathom or understand were going to come, because maybe the PA on set is thinking, I'm going to direct a music video one day, and then they're like, okay, I really like that person, I'm going to follow you. And then when they get the funds to do their project, bam, they reach out to you. And so it's also important to remember, it's not an immediate return. These are things that can be 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20. For me, for certain, there have been one of my favorite, most impacting in many ways jobs that I had came from something I did in 2006 that turned into maybe a greatest accomplishment of my life in 2016. So it's a decade later, the relationships that I nurtured in 2006 turned out to be magic in 2016.
Wow. Yeah. You're so much more than your steps. Love that.
Mm-hmm.
And let's dig into this next section here. And Chloe, of course, you're an entertainer. I'm an entertainer. And I think that you'd agree that this
Mm-hmm.
industry can be one of the most subjective, brutally honest, personally emotional industries in existence. And you know as well as I that in order to create and have a successful career in this industry, like you're having now, takes a lot of dedication and hard work. And while, yes, there is an outrageous amount of fun and excitement being an entertainer, doing what we do, there are also our fair share of obstacles, challenges, and failures we are going to experience and we're going to have to move forward through. So tell us, what is one key challenge, obstacle, or failure you've experienced in your career, and how did you come out the other side better because of it?
I would say it's more when I was in college. I went to college at Columbia University in New York City. And while I was there, I was training rigorously in dance in the city because there was just so much to offer.
Mm,
But simultaneously, I was looking at all of the job opportunities in New York, and I really couldn't find any shows where I would look at it and go, I want to be in that show because there's a role that I definitely match. But I would look at everything and nothing actually fit my skill set, my look, my style, etc. And I was just like, oh my goodness, like this show is all guys. Okay, this show is 5'7" women. Okay, or this show is, if you want to be in it, there's the skill set for tap was a much more basic skill set than what I had.
yeah.
And so it was difficult because I just didn't see a place for me. So that was a really pivotal time for me to say, I could have said, there's no job opportunity. What am I going to do? Like, how am I going to make money? Maybe this field isn't for me. And instead, I had this resolve. I remember having this resolve after I didn't get picked for some audition in New York. And I said to myself, I have to create it. It doesn't exist. I have to create it. And that
Yes.
was the pivotal point at which I started to no longer wait for other people to greenlight me or to say I was good enough or to define my worth. And I started to really create for myself. And it was all very magical time, because when I graduated, Debbie Allen had invited me to LA, and she said, I think you'll do better here. And I really didn't know the LA industry, but I was like, if she's advising me, I'm out. And so
Yeah.
I packed my bags one September day and I just flew to LA and I started my life here. And with having Debbie Allen as my mentor, it was incredible because she infused this idea further of how I could truly carve out my own path. And she believed in it before it even existed or was even near fruition. It was so not real to me, but I was like, but because she saw it also, I thought, we're going to get it done. I don't know how, but it's happening. And
Yeah.
so she gave me free space to create. And that in 2003, I created Syncopated Ladies. And most of those women were girls. They were 11, 12, 14, 15. And I just said, hey, ladies, I think we have something here. Let's try. And that's what we did.
Oh, that is so cool. I love that journey. And then taking control of your own work, your own art, your own creativity, and not, like you said, not waiting for someone to green light me. I think that's so good because it can be so
Yes.
discouraging if things just aren't working for you, or if you are looking in, like you said, looking at a market and saying, oh, there's not really anything that's really inspiring me, nothing I really feel driven to be a part of. And
Right.
it's amazing what you've done, and you've created such a
Thank you.
created something for yourself, and it's so fulfilling, and it just checks all the boxes. It's amazing.
Thank you. And I'm so appreciative. I think that's the other thing I would share with dancers. And this is just humans, anyone on the
Mm,
planet. If you live with gratitude, even the toughest days will have light because you will still find the light. You'll find that which is so hard to find sometimes, where you're
yeah.
like, oh, I feel like I'm failing. I feel like it's not happening. But if you can still simplify things to be able to say, I woke up today, or wow, I took a hot shower, or I love this song, and you play it loudly and you dance around. If you can find the little things to be grateful for, they start to pile up so much that they overshine whatever it is that is your obstacle.
Oh, such great advice, insight for life. Thank you for that. So good.
Thank you.
And let's move on to a time that I like to call your spotlight moment. That one moment in time you realized, yes, I am going to be an entertainer for a living.
Hmm.
Or maybe it
Hmm.
was, yes, this is what I need to be doing in the entertainment industry. Tell us about that.
Hmm. Ooh, I have so many spotlight moments based around the phases of my life. But if I go to childhood, I auditioned in when I was 11 years old. No, it was 10 years old. I auditioned for this big show that had tap dance in it. And I was going to, in it, but it was with all the legends, but there was a youth component to it.
Mm.
And so it was like the Nicholas brothers were in the show and Gregory Hines, and it was an incredible roster of people. And my teacher at the time told my mom that I was not ready for this audition and discouraged me from going. And I remember my mom saying, I don't care if you go in there and don't hit a single step, you're going to go try, because this is what the learning process is. So I went in, I tried this audition, and I ended up getting it. And that performance put me on stage with as a youth performer with literally the greatest tap dancers alive at that time. And then from that, the Washington Performing Arts Society then created like a field trip to New York. And we got to go to New York and we got to see Jelly's Last Jam on Broadway.
Wow.
And we got to perform in Frank Hatchett's Broadway showcase. And so, this one little audition that my teacher just brushed off and was like, no, not for you, by way of my mom just saying, give it a try, doesn't mean there's no guarantees, give it a try, turned into me solidifying what I knew I wanted to do for the rest of my life.
Oh, such a good story and a great lesson as well, because sometimes we can get into that, what would you call it? Kind of a getting ready to get ready. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Or this
Right.
analysis
Right.
paralysis kind of thing. It's like
Yes. Oh my gosh.
you're not always going to be ready.
Mm-mm.
Oh, you're almost never going to feel I feel
Exactly. I was
perfect.
going to say
You
that.
just got to go do it. See what happens. You don't know the future. No one knows what
Yes.
things are going to you don't know what they're looking for. So put yourself out there
Exactly.
and then learn from that experience. Don't cut yourself short.
Yes. I mean, I have a great audition story. So I went to audition for Beyonce in 2006. And it was a big thing she was doing. And I went, and there were thousands, you know how it is. Cattle call of dancers is Beyonce, everybody's coming. And we're in LA, and I actually made it down to the final round. And this is doing Beyonce style dancing. And I was just so proud of myself that I got into that final round. And then they had a freestyle section. And I had hidden my tap shoes in the corner of the room because I that was my thing. I was like,
Mm.
one of y'all is going to put tap into this landscape, because I wanted to see tap in the pop world. So freestyle section comes, I run, throw my tap shoes, and I hop in the circle. And they're like, whoa. And at the end, the choreographer was really kind, Frank Gatson. He was really kind. And he was like, that's amazing. We're not looking for that, but that's amazing. And I remember I left that audition so proud of myself because I showed up as myself and I gave my all. And I knew I wasn't going to book it. But in my car ride, I literally couldn't have been a happier human because I wasn't afraid to show up as me. And from there, in my head, as I was driving, I was like, I'm not getting this job, but I'm definitely going to work with Beyonce. And I could feel it in my spirit. And within several months of that, I found myself by way of my friend from college who was directing a Beyonce music video on set with Beyonce.
Whoa, very
I know.
cool. Whoa,
Yes.
I
It's
love that.
unbelievable the power of thought and like feeling proud of who you are. And so the interesting thing is in 2006, when I got to work with Beyonce several times, I was not tap dancing. But then in 2013, they called me again. I still was not tap dancing. In 2016 is when we got to tap dance and perform for Beyonce tap dancing. And that for me was that difference of 2006 planting a seed and 2016 seeing it, come to life.
Beautiful. And I guess with that, let's talk about, I'm assuming that's your number one booked it moment. Yeah?
Yes,
Beautiful.
yes,
Well, can
yes.
you just dig into some detail a little bit more? I know you've talked about it a little bit, but talk about more detail about how that whole
Hmm.
experience came to fruition, that all the auditions, any callbacks, anything, that journey getting to that huge number one booked it moment.
Yes. So, like I said, I did that audition and I didn't get it. And I was thinking, man, I'm going to get it though. I'm going to get it. And a friend of mine, my actual film partner from college, she had become a successful music video director. And so I would freelance assist her on sets. And so it was incredible because I got to learn how do you produce and direct a music video
Mm.
of high quality with pop stars. And so that was amazing. And so one day she called me and she said, Chloe, what are you doing tomorrow? I said, what are we doing? And she said, we're doing Beyonce. And so it was incredible because now I was going to be on the back end working to make the Beyonce vision come to life. And I thought all I was going to be doing was that. Turned out we were on set, and in a matter of moments, they threw me into the music video, and I had to learn choreography on set. And that was my audition, honestly. Like in that moment, could I pull up on screen with no actual rehearsal
Yeah.
in the immediate? And thank God I did, because that, when I say that was the audition, I did a great job. And so then they hired me again. And then I did a great job. And then there was nothing similar to what we were doing for a couple of years. But then in 2013, they reached back out and said, hey, Chloe, didn't you work with us on this and this? We'd love to have you back. And then I had to send in some photos and send in a dance that I had pre-taped that they sent me the dance that they wanted me to learn. I practiced it, put it on tape, sent it back. And then I ended up doing Beyonce Pepsi commercial and Beyonce H&M commercial. And then from that, right from those experiences, I was so moved by everything I'd learned from Beyonce that I thought, I want to thank her. How can I thank this woman from a deeper place? And so I got Syncopated ladies together and we did what we called a Beyonce Tap Salute, which was really a thank you note to her by way of me creating a tap dance to one of her songs that just said, I love you and you've changed my life. And I didn't think she was going to see it, but she did. And then she shared it on her platform. And that was the catalyst for everything great that has happened with Syncopated Ladies. We ended up, Paula Abdul saw it. She sent it to Nigel Lithgow. We ended up on So You Think You Could Dance. And then we ended up selling out our own tours. And I call it the Beyonce effect. Her support and her love transformed our lives. And then we
Wow.
just continued to make, yeah, I don't know if you knew that. We continued to make work and just do what we were doing. And so that was 2013 when she shared it the first time, our tap salute to her. In 2016, She had done formation. I'll never forget this. I was sitting in the living room of a friend of mine in some extravagant skyscraper in LA. And there aren't many skyscrapers here, but this one was something special. And there was a massive TV and they play the formation video. It was the first time I saw it. As I'm watching, my cousin who lives in Chicago sends me a message. Y'all are getting information, right? I'm like, absolutely. And immediately I called Sync Ladies to the studio. And within 2 hours, I created this video because I felt it like in my bones, created our tap formation. And so I put it out there. And I honestly, again, didn't think Beyonce would see it or even share it because she'd already done such a huge favor for us. It's a huge act of kindness. This time, she didn't just share it, she made it the homepage of Beyonce.com. So when you went to Beyonce.com, it was our photo and it said press play and it was our video. And she left it there for several weeks.
Wow.
Yes. And that was when everything I'd imagined from when I first met her in 2006. And I said to her, no, she said to me, oh, you're a tap dancer. And I said, yes. She was like, I never really tap, but I'd love to learn one day. And that was the seed planted of this tap and Beyonce imagination. And then 2016, she then after that hired us to fly to London and perform to launch her Ivy Park clothing line. And it was just the greatest full circle of, again, all of this started from an audition I didn't get. That is the key to this story. Is
Yeah.
it was from an audition that I didn't book, and then a 10-year journey of self-actualization, self-confidence, self-worth, gratitude, and imagination.
What an incredible journey. Not only is it a fantastic story to tell and listen to, but also the lessons to learn and what we can take from that. Wow, so good. I would encourage everyone to rewind that real quick, re-listen to that, and pick all those little caveats up. Wow, so good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I haven't told that in a long time.
Ah,
It was as I was just telling it, I was picturing it, and I was like, oh my gosh. I just remember the amount of this is for every dancer. We go through so many feelings as we're going through something and creating it, of the questions of am I gonna make it, and the fear, and then overcoming the fear, and then going for it, and then no one sees it, and then it is so there are so many things. And I would just say the most important thing is staying on purpose. If you just stick with your purpose, the audience comes at some point. And again, one of my favorite teachers, he always says, there's a stage for everyone. And so you just have to figure out what that is for you. And it's not that one stage is better than another stage. It's really about what is in your spirit and how you want to share what you're creating.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's take a moment to talk about the present. What projects are you working on now? What are you looking forward to? And hey, it's a kind of a weird time, right? We're amidst this global pandemic. How do you see the entertainment industry moving forward in the next couple of years?
First of all, I'm very thankful. This 2020 was quite challenging for everyone in our field, and it continues to be as the world is mostly shut down, especially the cross, country traveling. And for me, for Syncopated Ladies last year, we actually had a 30-city tour already scheduled and routed for us to be, honestly, some of the first women to executive produce a tap show. And we were so excited, and this was going to be so massive. And then bam, everything canceled, the entire tour canceled. And it was really jolting because it's not just the money, it's the dream. So that was one thing. And then at that time, in the beginning, early stages, television industry shut down, where I was going from choreographing tons of TV shows, episodes a year to I did in 2020, I only did like maybe 6 days on set. After the shutdown. And then I was doing convention, teaching dance to hundreds and thousands of amazing dancers. Not happening. All of that canceled. So literally all my sources of income went to zero. So my sister and I, Maud, Arnold, we had to pivot, reshape our possibility. And so we took this online space that we'd already been thriving in terms of creatively to start producing dance events online, because we already had been doing that in person, and we were scheduled to have the DC Tap Fest, and then bam, within 10 days it was canceled, and we had to reschedule, and we did it virtually, and that proved to be a big hit. And so over the year we did 4 massive events online to keep the world connected and to educate and to uplift, and that was incredible. And during that time also, I was able to sit down and really start to develop many of our own ideas. So the things to look forward to in the future for my sister and I as co-producers is that we're working to develop content for television and film. Also, we're writing a book right now. We're also furthering the online educational programming that we have. So we already have done a lot, but we're going to actually truly build it to where it just always exists, because why not be able to tap with folks in Australia that we wouldn't have done that without this pandemic saying, halt, how can we connect online, right? It would have taken me flying across the world to make that happen. And then fun news, I can't say what it is, but I am slated to choreograph a movie musical.
Ooh, very cool.
Yeah, this year we'll probably start production mid-March and go for almost the whole year. It's a big project. It is incredible A-listers. I am beyond honored. And it's a beautiful new chapter in this incredible journey. And I'm just thankful that 2020 didn't crush my spirit or my work. And I just send love to anyone who found this period, and it is in this period where it's feeling helpless, to try to find the silver lining and then magnify it. Because ultimately, we only have 2 choices, right? We let it defeat us, or we get stronger and we innovate. And I encourage everyone to try to find that inner light and strength and innovate. And that goes back to team. Going back to the beginning of this conversation, your relationships and your team. Who are you around that's encouraging you? Who are you around that's making it feel darker? Make sure you select your team very wisely so that you're utilizing the time to lift yourself up.
Oh, so good. Very much looking forward to those projects when they start coming out, and keep me posted about all of that. But wow,
Thank
again,
you.
such great advice. So good. I'm loving this interview. Thank you. And
Thank you. Me too.
yeah, it is time now to move on to one of my favorite sections in the interview. I call it the Grease Lightning Round. I
All right.
am going to ask you a handful of questions. I want you to answer them as quickly and concisely as possible, one after another.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, first question. What was the one thing holding you back from committing to a career as an entertainer?
Fear.
Second question. What is the best piece of advice you have ever received?
If it doesn't exist, create it.
Oh, so good. Third question. What is something that is working for you right now? Or if you'd like to go pre-COVID, what was working for you before our industry went on pause?
Innovative online creative content.
Fourth question. What is your best resource? Whether that is a book, a movie, maybe a YouTube video, a podcast, or a piece of technology you found is helping your career right now.
It's a person.
Yeah.
It's Debbie Allen. And it's because she lives in my thoughts. And that is how I deal with everything that I'm going through life. Her advice lives in my thoughts.
Oh, so wonderful. And the fifth question. If you had to start your career from scratch, but you still had all the knowledge and experience you've collected from your career in this industry, what would you do or not do? Would you do anything differently, or would you keep it the same?
I would add all of those styles of training sooner, and I would add singing and acting to that.
There we go.
Early, young.
Yeah. And the last question. What is the golden nugget knowledge drop you've learned from your successful career in this industry you'd like to leave with our listeners?
I would say faith over fear. And when I say faith, it's not using it religiously, more so the belief in yourself, that it's so strong that no matter how scared you get, you place your belief over the fear and you go for it.
So good. And to wrap up this interview, Chloe, it is time to give yourself a plug. Where can we find you? How do our listeners connect with you? Is there anything you want to promote?
Yes. So please follow me on Instagram at Chloe Arnold Taps, or you can also subscribe to my mailing list at chloearnold.com. And we have so many exciting tap events happening online right now and on into the future. And we also have a youth company that's worldwide, so you can audition to be a part. So all of this amazing information is on my website, and you can email for with more questions. But I just truly look forward to dancing with everyone and just building this global community of dance.
Beautiful. And for everyone listening out there, I've put the links to everything Chloe just said into the description of this episode so you can easily connect with her. And also, be sure to share this podcast with your fellow entertainers, coaches, teachers, arts and entertainment educators, and anyone you know aspiring to create a career in the entertainment industry. You Booked It is the #1 resource of expertise on how to actually create a successful entertainment career. Case in point, every bit of gold that Chloe just dropped today. If you enjoyed this episode, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next one. Chloe, thank you so much for being here. I had a fantastic time speaking with you today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's truly an honor, and I'm just thankful to be a part of this platform that is encouraging and inspiring everyone to go for their dreams.
Thank you so much for listening today. If you enjoyed this episode and want more like it, be sure to smash that subscribe button. Also, be sure to jump inside the brand new You Booked It community. Head over to youbookeditpodcast.com/community or tap the link in the show notes right now and take your career to the next level. Inside, you'll connect with your people and develop real industry relationships, which, by the way, this podcast has discovered is the #1 fundamental that creates long-term career success. Discover opportunities and join in on over 20 upcoming live masterclasses. Tap the link in the description of this episode, and I'll see you there.